Welcome back to Gun No Control Podcast. I am your host, Ronek. And before I introduce my special guest today, I want to make some special announcements. Official Gun No Control gear is now available. You can order it now on the link on the description below. And for all my audio listeners, there will be a link. Make sure to click that link and check us out. Also, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, May Fresh Graffiti Shop, located inside the Lamo Indoor Swap Meet in Dominguez, California. Make sure to check them out for all your graffiti supplies and airbrush services. Great prices, great people. And with that being said, let me introduce today Shiver. How you doing today, brother?
All right.
I just want to say thank you for stopping by and giving us your first interview.
Oh, yeah. First interview.
It's a special today.
Oh, yeah.
So for those out there that don't know who Shiver is or where he comes from, can you speak a little bit about where are you originally from and where is home for Shiver?
I came out of Hawthorne in 1987.
1987.
Yes, sir.
And how did you get introduced or enter the graffiti world? Like what got you motivated and what got you started?
I couldn't break dance. So then I was with some friends around the corner that I grew up with, and they were watching the PBS Star Wars. They had recorded it. They told me, come over, watch it. And it was over from there. I couldn't break dance. So I was like, this is what I want to do. I was already listening to rap, you know. You had KGFJ playing. You'd call in on the microphone. You would call in on the phone, and they would be playing the beat, and you'd hear yourself through the radio.
Oh, like rap live?
Yeah, you rap live through their beat.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was before K-Day.
And how was the graffiti scene in Hawthorne back in, you said 87?
Yeah, there was no graffiti scene in Hawthorne. South Bay, there's no graffiti. Very anti-graffiti. Hawthorne has a 24-hour, 7 days a week, and graffiti campaign still to this day.
So if you go paint something, they buff it immediately?
Pretty much.
Till this day?
Yep.
Wow. So how did you maneuver around that? How did you tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to make it happen?
I had to leave Hawthorne.
And how was that initiation, leaving Hawthorne?
I mean, it was easy. I mean, I started the crew with a couple of small guys from Carson.
Okay.
So it was a connection easy from Hawthorne to Carson. And then I used to get up on buses with other kids from NTS and CMA that went to Hawthorne High.
Okay.
So I used to ride buses and get downtown Inglewood and catch the 40.
And the transition from Hawthorne to Carson, would you say there was more availability to paint in Carson? Is that why you shift that way, or was it because a crew member was out there?
No, just because a crew member was around. And then you already had Dream from SMD, who was a king of Carson.
Okay.
I believe he started in 82, either 81 or 82 from what he told me.
May he rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
And how was it meeting him? Like, eventually you bumped into him.
Yeah, I ran into him at Motor Yard back in 1990 or late 89.
Yeah.
He was doing a piece. I had already dropped a piece in the back at Motor, and he recognized the crew name, which was H&R, and said, you guys painted that one in the back? Yeah. You're from Carson? Yeah, I got my Samoan partners from Carson. I'm from Hawthorne, and we just linked up after that.
Dope. So I know you say you're from Hawthorne. I know you might have moved around the harbor area, and I know Hawthorne wasn't really lovable of graffiti. But any part in the harbor where you say graffiti was there, or zero at all?
Yeah, you had the Ports of Call yard,
okay,
which I believe might have been Flame painting it. That was there, but it was by the time I got to it, it was pretty much dead. But
okay,
there was graffiti on the wall, just nobody was actively painting that.
The Portugal yard.
Yeah, and it was really, really hard to get
in.
Well, yeah, because they didn't park any trains there, and it was pretty much open. There wasn't no graffiti in that time.
Did gang style graffiti have any influence in you?
It's always been around.
Yeah,
since I can remember. So now I take it back to my middle school days. So you're looking 1980.
Okay.
We had gangs and Hawthorns from then.
Okay.
So now I recognize after getting into graffiti, realizing that, oh, that's the neighborhood. Okay.
Oh, damn. And then you'd be like, damn, what is that going on over there? Let me check it out real quick. And did you go through multiple names, or did you just out of the bag just been like, I'm gonna be Shiver?
No, I had multiple names prior to '87.
Okay.
I started with a couple just toy stuff, practicing, going to the park, drinking, being a dummy, drinking 40s or
Yeah.
alcohol and tagging on walls.
And how did Shiver come about? Was that something that was just manifested, or was it something that you sat down and really put together?
No, it kind of was manifested. The guy that I started with the crew with, from Carson, he wanted to write Shake. So then I didn't want Shiver, I wanted to write Shake, and he didn't like the name Shiver. So if we wrote together, it was supposed to be Shiver and Shake.
Okay.
So I ended up, he was like, no, you're Shiver. No, I'm Shiver. No. So I just stuck to Shiver, and I'm glad I stuck to it then because it wasn't one of those names that everybody would want to grab and try to copy.
And for those that might be listening, '87 it was a whole different time than what it is today,
Whole
especially for
new.
graffiti writers, because we're talking about a time where graffiti wasn't really endorsed as it is today. People didn't really want to do much about it. As far as like now, you see it, it became corporate, where people paint graffiti for corporate businesses and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, you had your heroes back in the day, people that been killed, like rest in peace Ty. He
Yeah.
got shot by somebody in the back of the head. Like that was nonsense.
Yes.
And been other people that died from heroes.
And it's like it's crazy though how some people don't understand what some writers got to go through. You know, the emotions and the thought process being out there, and the danger you got to get into.
Yes, I tell people my first company I saw was the anti graffiti was Sunny Delight commercial,
Some of the
and the
lights.
mom was calling. The kids were painting with rollers over the graffiti. So that was like one of early anti graffiti campaigns, but from back in the day before mainstream that they have now.
And how did that make you feel at the moment? Was it something that was really that not really, but something that bothered you? Like, damn, what's going on with these guys? Why they trying to put bash graffiti? Or was it something more like,
I mean, a
uh,
lot of people didn't understand it.
yeah,
I mean, they still don't understand it. I hate the derogatory term. Oh, you're a tagger. No,
yeah,
I'm not a tagger. I do graffiti. I'm a graffiti artist. I do murals.
okay. And for those who don't understand the difference, would you say a tagger is someone that just goes and catches tags, or what would you consider in your perspective a
Yeah,
tagger?
for me, I consider a tagger just person that just all he does is just constantly write his name. There's no method to it. It's not like he has a bubble letter.
Okay,
He must just want to do gangster stuff.
yeah, I totally understand. And what is your thought about it? Like someone trying to get into graffiti nowadays, like you think they should develop a tag first, or you think they should go more with a bubble letter? Your personal opinion.
My opinion is most of them need to really sit down and do their homework to realize what names have been taken and what's not
Okay.
before they start adding O's at the end of it or some one letter off. Like, dude, pay your respect to that king that was before you.
And I think that's been happening a lot. Like people forget, like, some of these guys, they're kings for a reason. They put in the work, they got the style, they develop something that's original.
I mean, Dream told from SMD taught me like if you want to be part of it, you gotta eat it, sleep 24/7.
Yeah, that's a that's the only way to do it.
And that's the only way to do it. So if you want to like half-ass approach it, then you'll see what happens.
And coming up, did you have a mentor at all?
I would say consider Dream was my partner, so he taught me a lot about the game. Before him, I had Strayer from South Central. He was the Deaf Crew guys want to recruit him
Okay.
from back in the day, but I happened to run him into him prior to Dream, so he was showing me. Then we had a good relationship, so I'd always be in South Central
Okay.
all the time.
Do you think mentorship is important? Would you consider that?
It does help to know somebody can help guide you to know what the
Yeah.
do's and the don'ts and the mistakes. But other than that, you can't be scared to experiment and try something on your own. You don't need that hold hand.
Yeah. Just going off for it and say, screw it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna learn today.
yeah, that's the
I'm earning
best
my
way.
blues today.
That's the best way.
And I mean, you coming from an era before the Montana was available, or all these high quality spray paint. What were you using back in the day, like as your utensil?
I mean, I always stuck to Krylon and Rust-Oleum.
Yeah.
but Krylon was way better than what it is now. You know,
Yeah.
80s Krylon was it was popping, you know, like you still can't compare it to what it is to this day. It's the paint is still smells different.
Yeah.
And then it's not the EPA is the reason why that all went down to change the formulas.
And they started changing the valves and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but it was all started because the EPA was trying to crack down on fluorocarbons into the ozone.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they cracked down on graffiti, and then Krylon changed their formula, changed plant, and then the paint was garbage.
And then they
And
just
then
kind of
pretty
like,
much everybody took the Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum has always been the thing. I used to use Red Devil as well, but a lot of these new youngsters don't know anything about Red Devil.
Can you talk about a little bit about the Red Devil?
I didn't use it too much. It always had some people didn't like it because it had the fan cap on it, which was a blue nozzle that if once you took that off of the can, it was pretty much almost garbage to try and use it again because it didn't screw in right.
Okay.
And then it was the one like now they consider it a calligraphy cap.
Okay.
So you could turn it like skinny one way or you could go wider the other way. So most people that used it were always the gangsters. You would always see like Old English and letters like that from them.
Okay. From the Red Devil.
Yeah. Or like those kind of like valve stems that came on those cans.
And were you also testing out the test caps?
Yeah, I got the name Tester came off because we got them from Tester cans.
Okay.
And then in New York, they can call those New York thins, but out on the West Coast, we consider them testers because that's what we got them from was Tester cans.
So, and being out on the West Coast, did the East Coast graffiti have any influence in you?
Oh, major influence. That's what we saw. If not, there was only West Coast graffiti, was only gangster graffiti as me growing up as a kid. That's all I ever saw.
And was there somebody in particular that you would say from the East Coast back then that kind of motivated you to like, damn, I gotta get to that level?
Once I found Subway art and saw Style Wars, it was off the chain. That's like all those guys were like the pioneers and awesome. I looked up to all of them.
Okay.
From Dondi, you know, I've done my history. I've read my books. I have the Dondi Master Style General book.
Okay.
As we talk about that now, I have from Phase 2, Rest in Peace. I have his style writing from the Underground book that you could read. It tells you how on the East Coast, like they can know what lines were, what style or what borough that writer came from just from his hand style.
Definitely. And I feel it's important to hold on to stuff like that because not many can sit here and be like, I got this book, I got that book, I got this magazine. So for me personally, I feel like it's important to hold that, to share it for the future, generation to come, to learn and to see hey man, this was here before. Check it out.
The good thing is you have the books, but if a lot of now that you have the computer, I see the downfall is everybody just wants to go and hop on the computer and steal the style and don't understand there's consequences to it.
Yeah.
Because in my era, if you stole somebody's style, you got a beat down.
Yeah, because you come from an era where cell phones weren't even around when you were out there painting,
Yeah,
right?
because you had whoever was invented handed you that style, and that was basically that crew's style.
It was kind of like incognito, like, hey, this is mine.
Right. So like everybody would know, like you had KSN, so KSN style had like bars on the bottoms.
Okay.
Like so that was known as that's that style.
Okay.
You know, the West Coast artists, they had their style.
Yeah.
You know, AWRs had their style. Like everybody's been like that for the majority. But now with the internet, everybody's just biting everybody's style.
And it kind of messes it up because originality kind of gets erased.
Has been lost.
and like
nobody doesn't know where they got it from.
They just know they got it.
They just know they stole it from somebody, but nobody knows where they stole it from.
And with that being said, do you think the internet kind of ruined graffiti in a way, or do you think it brought positivity?
I mean, it's pros and cons to
Okay.
both and everything. You can look at the good things it's done. It's made it easier to access for graffiti. Like I could pop on and find a writer from Europe.
Okay.
That maybe he just painted yesterday.
Yeah.
But from the early days, you would have to go out, get out of your city, go ride the bus or get in somebody's car, take you to that yard, take you to the wall, get that picture, then come wait for it to get developed.
Yeah.
Before you could even look at that picture. Now you just have internet. Hey, in 5 minutes, I'm looking at graffiti.
Or you might have took the wrong picture and have to go back and take it again.
Or maybe you don't like the lighting, but
Yeah.
you know that's the thing about having access with in cell phones. I guess these days you have a computer in your phone and access to a camera.
And you coming from the South Bay, I know a lot of individuals from South Bay, a lot of writers kind of feel like left out in a way. They feel like our area doesn't get enough shine when it comes to the graffiti world. What is your input in that?
Mm, I mean, this whole harbor thing and whatnot, that's pretty much like gang politics. Like that has nothing to do really with graffiti. I
Okay.
mean, South Bay is the South Bay from Hawthorne to Carson to Dominguez Hills. That's South Bay.
Yeah.
And but the new kids get on from the harbor area.
Yeah.
That's gang mentality.
Okay.
Are you a gangster or are you a writer?
Definitely.
Make the choice.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of feel about it. But I mean, everybody does what they have to do.
And everything, they end up doing whatever they want at the end of the day.
And you have that too, you know. I'm not going to stop you. Yeah, you know, you can't go around beating up everybody.
So you say you started a crew, H&R,
Yeah.
with a couple of friends.
Yes.
So how long were you H&R till you finally, not finally, but entered the different crew, AWR, MSK?
I got into AWR in late 92, early 93.
Okay.
I for sure claim 93 because I know for sure that's the solid year.
Okay.
That from 93 on been AWR and MSK I got in 95. The same year I got in AWR in 93, I went to New York.
Okay.
And Charlie introduced me with Nick One and Carl from Videograph. So I linked up with Nick and we went and I painted a schoolyard in the Bronx with him. He got put down with Aerosol Kings.
Okay.
So I'm also from Aerosol Kings from the Bronx from 93, MSK 95. I've been pushing that. And there's a couple other crews before those, but pretty much those have been the main ones. And then I got in FGS about 2006, which is strictly predominantly train rider crew.
Okay. I know somebody mentioned this to me before in the comment section of one of my videos. How do you feel about those people that say that you should only be from one crew and not multiple crews?
I mean, it's hard to push all five crews and for everybody to be happy because you hear, oh, you need to put those 3 letters or those 2 letters
Yeah.
next to every time. So like, even though I started H&R, I mean, it's still to this day. Sometimes I feel like I don't need to write it because I've already paid my dues for it for so many years. And if you know heard of me or don't know those 3 letters, I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell you.
Definitely. Definitely. I feel you on that. And being from such an iconic crew like MSK and AWR, and you've seen it go from 95 to where it is today, how does that impact you?
I mean, it's mind blowing to really see. Like, so a lot of people ask me, what made you get an AWR?
Okay.
Like, so from me, when I first found Motor Yard, when I brought it, it was me, Theory, and Rest in Peace Porno from CMA. I was driving my mom's car. Theory says, well, this yard is over here. We go there. So I found it. And so I would always run into different AWR members,
Okay.
like the main leaders, Eclipse. So like I would run into all these guys every time I would go paint motor. I would always run into them.
Okay.
So then one day I just happened to like, hey, I would always see them doing like productions.
Yeah.
So then I saw Mike painting at Motor and then I asked Mike, hey, how do I get in the crew? He said, we're going to have a meeting, bring your photo albums, your sketchbooks, whatever,
Okay.
as your proofs. And then, so I came to the meeting and I got down.
Oh,
And
dope.
I've been ever since that. But I had already had a prior relationship because I'd always run into them every time I was in the yard.
Oh, definitely.
So I knew some like 6, 7, or 8 members prior to me getting in.
Okay. And I know you mentioned Motor Yard, going into Motor Yard and meeting these writers. How is it? What would you say is the difference now from back then? Like back then, going into a yard to what today is. Would you say it's still the same
There's
feeling?
no comparison because the newer generation doesn't know what it's like to have a yard.
Okay.
So as you could go to Belmont, you could go to Motor Yard, you go LOD yard
Yeah.
that they had up on from the Cypress Hill video. You could go to any of that yard, but it was more like, well, I kept it as a friendly. It was like more like what you write,
Okay.
because we kept it as graffiti. Now it's like the younger generation always say, where are you from? Like that's gang mentality.
Yeah.
So like that's the difference right there. But they don't know what it's like to have a yard to go seeing a full burner, like full color backgrounds, and to know what to respect and what not to respect. Now people just think this wall that is right here is all painted. I can just come hit this wall. So then you have issues where, hey, you don't belong on that wall. That was my wall.
Yeah.
You don't have permission, but they think it's just a free for all because they think it's a yard.
And it escalates to something
But
bigger.
they don't know what a real yard was.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense for all you guys.
No, I totally understand.
It's a whole different time generation gap. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like a real salty old man, and that's why I decided to do. Everybody wants to interview from me, and I got to start trying to like say what's got to be said.
And I want to thank you for choosing us to start.
All right.
And speaking what you want to speak about and sharing your peace of mind.
No problem.
And for Shiver, what is a proper executed graffiti piece?
Man, I mean, I was taught to make it readable. So if you see a train going by you,
yeah,
when you're driving on the freeway, you want it simple so you can read it. Even if you're going 55 down the freeway,
yeah,
you got to have a simple style so they can read it when they go by.
Okay.
It don't have to be fancy.
I don't gotta be all super wall style.
It can be just a chrome and a blue and a silver, you know, and just make it readable so they can know. But the more you hit it, the more you get up everywhere, the more the people see your name and they, oh, that guy, oh, I seen him here, I seen him here. Yeah. Then they put it together.
Definitely, and it's like you want to be readable.
Yes, I've always been taught readable styles, you know, but you got to have your wild styles, you got to have your simplest, you got to have your bubbles. And it's all the process, my 35 years I've been writing. I still learn and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's new techniques. You got to learn how people paint, how they tag. Like all that is all factors of graffiti.
And you constantly have new products coming out as well. So it's like now you got more options to do this.
And everything's made for them. So there should be no hard time. I mean, I painted pieces with floral paint that you would paint on flowers with.
Damn, this was back when, what year would you say?
This is like 92.
92?
91.
Okay.
There was like a place called Stats.
Okay.
They were like, you could buy Christmas trees, ornaments. I think there's still one in Pasadena.
Okay.
But we used to go in there with my boy. We used to go rack paint all the time. So it's free paint, man. I just go rack it.
Yeah.
And then I'd go do a piece of the yard and I would take it with me. It would smell funny because it had like different colors had different smells.
Okay.
So if you use blue, like it might be like a blueberry smell.
Okay.
If you use the purple, it was like a grape smell.
Oh.
It was funky, but you could use it just to get over. So that's why I tell everybody you can basically paint with anything.
Was it easier to rack back then? Because I know now you go to like Home Depot or anywhere and everything's all locked up. Was it like that back then, or was it all free for all?
Prior, it was a free for all prior to the lockup. Then once everything that changed, and then now, the day and age now, you see all the mob rule things. Okay. So it's total free for all now for racking. I wish it was like that when I was coming up.
Did you take part in bus mobbing, like hitting the buses and riding the bus lines?
I get the 40 line. How
was that experience, the bus mobbing? Because I know a lot of people didn't have that experience of today.
I mean, it was different. Like I said, you had heroes. I mean, you could ride a bus line, get off on a stop, and your friend would hold the doors for you so nobody can get off. And you're like, somebody's catching the back door. There's like a black section. And that was like always the favorite spot for everybody to hit.
Oh, okay.
And so they would do that. Or you'd have the door, like somebody hold the door while they're hitting. I had a person, as I was getting the window, the dude kicks the window open on me. And I had to like shove the window of the bus back down and hold it while he's kicking it so I can finish catching my tag on the bus while it goes on to the next stop. But that was, things like that. So you would always hear a lot of, if people saw you tagging on the buses, they're always, hey, stop that.
Or
or
stop doing
or
that.
you had somebody trying to chase you in a car. So it's like that doesn't happen anymore.
Okay.
I don't see that. I haven't had anything like that happen to me like that. Now it's like people are too scared to like see anything because people have been shot over them saying something of somebody catching the tag.
So now they kind of just think about it and be like, I'm gonna leave that guy alone.
Pretty much.
Let me mind my own business.
That's what it seems like. I mean, times have definitely changed.
They definitely have. I mean, 2023 compared to 87, it's a big gap.
A big gap.
And I know you've gone through multiple experiences, as a graffiti writer. Is there an experience in particular that you could possibly share with us? Maybe something you learned from, or something that kind of got you like, maybe I shouldn't do that again, or maybe I learned from it.
I mean, it like some people ask me if I can ask my kids to, if I would encourage them to do graffiti.
Okay.
And I tell them, no, I would not.
Okay.
Because what we are exposed to in order for this art form, if you really want to be a real dedicated, a real writer that ran the streets, you're going to get put in predicaments that you have never thought about in your life.
Okay.
Whether it's some game, you pull up to some hood, you're trying to get a wall, either the cops are going to roll up on you. What are you doing here? You over here to buy drugs? Yeah, I
Okay.
would get that. Or you have the gangsters pulling guns on you. Where you from? What are you doing? Like, pull up your shirt,
Yeah.
looking at you,
Let me
or
see
trying
your-
to take your paint from you.
Let me see your tattoos. What does that
Your
say?
tattoos, or they want to take your paint from you.
That could get tough out there.
So those are things that
No parallel.
I don't, as a parent especially, don't say I don't want to encourage that.
Nice.
I mean, we can talk about I'm old. I've been listening to rap since 1980. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's even changed. We can have a discussion about that even.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game here.
It's a whole different game.
How do you feel about street art? What is your opinion on that? Because I know it's a big crash there where it's like,
I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but that has helped graffiti in a sense to thrive in a sense more because of those people saying, "Hey, I'm just a street artist," but none of them are really a graffiti artist that ran the streets.
okay,
Everybody wants to put us under the table. Oh, you're a street artist. If you tell them you do graffiti, oh, you're a street artist.
yeah,
No, not for a person like me. I'm a graffiti artist. I straight tell them I'm a graffiti artist. I'm not.
there's a difference.
I'm not like I'm not. I don't do wheat paste.
Okay,
I'm not like a stencil tagger.
okay.
I just don't do those things. I strictly do paint, and that's it.
Because I know some people feel that street artists, in a way, kind of took from the graffiti writer and artist because they started using the spray can as one of their main mediums. So some people kind of debate that was more like the graffiti writer thing. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
Say it again one more time. I'm sorry.
No worries. I know a lot of people feel that street artists, in a way, kind of took from the graffiti artist and graffiti writer because they started using the spray can as one of their main mediums. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I would say I would disagree because the spray can is basically an easier medium.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be out trying to use like acrylics with rollers
Yeah.
and roller the side of a building with acrylic paint.
Yeah, you can be there all day.
Like you might as well just the spray paint's much faster. So I mean, it's used as a tool is actually helped, I think. But as far as like what a street artist does and what a graffiti artist does is totally two different art forms.
Okay. Can you share a little bit about how you feel about that? Like a graffiti artist doing different than the street artist. What do you think is different there, in your opinion? I mean, obviously.
I mean, I know a lot of like graffiti artists that don't do wheat paste.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So most street artists will use wheat paste.
Okay.
If you want to consider it as to identify as like what's the difference from a graffiti writer to a street artist.
Yeah. And what do you see graffiti 30, 50 years from now? You still see it going strong, or do you feel it's going to slowly fall off?
I don't see it going away. I mean, it's part of society. I mean, every society has had graffiti in it.
Definitely.
From the Incas on, since mankind developed, there's always
Yeah.
been graffiti. It's just how, like, Some of it's bad, some of it's good.
Yeah. I guess I mean more towards like the hip hop style graffiti, like the pieces and the cartoons and stuff like
I
that.
mean, it's definitely gonna still continue to go through evolution. I mean, I thought that for now, for sure, I would have thought that I would see more 3D styles in LA, but we
Okay.
don't have 3D styles.
Okay.
Because like you can go to Mexico, and I was just having my friend who was visiting me yesterday from Mexico City,
Yeah.
and he came and I was telling him how when I would see pictures from my friends that would go to Mexico in 2000, they would take pictures and give me pictures, and I saw a lot of 3D styles.
Okay.
I didn't see traditional like train styles.
For anybody that might listen to this that has no idea what 3D is, can you share a little bit about?
3D
Yeah.
is like a letter form, and then it has either a drop shadow or a 3D to it is like thick blockiness.
Okay. Have you had a chance to travel out of the United States to paint?
No, I have not.
No.
No.
How about out of LA? Have you been out of LA, like
Yeah, I've been
Arizona?
out of LA. I've like I said, I've done New York. I mean, I went out of country,
Okay.
but like I went to Jamaica
Okay.
in '88. I actually did a piece in there, but they didn't have no graffiti in Jamaica, and nobody knew what the hell I was doing.
How was the thought process? Like you were just out there, like screw, I'm gonna hit this real quick, or was it like more
I mean,
like,
because I was already into it. So
yeah,
then my mom, she like messed around with drugs. So her drug dealer is who I went to Jamaica with.
okay,
So he needed to get pushed around in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
He was handicapped he had just had a stroke, was handicapped, so he needed to get around. So
yeah,
I went with them, and we spent 3 weeks there.
and he's like, you know what, I gotta go give me some spray paint somewhere.
And so because I was already into graffiti, I took 2 cans with me.
Okay,
And then when I went through, the police in Jamaica didn't say anything when they search the bags when you come through.
yeah,
And nobody said anything when I left the country about it. Nobody came
I said anything. So,
anything. So I had it, and they, the natives at that time, they didn't know anything about graffiti. So it was kind of like they didn't even know anything about gang. So
Okay.
for me, coming from LA, I'm telling them about Crips, Bloods, essays. They don't know nothing.
they're just like, what is this guy talking about?
They were amazed. Everybody wanted to come back to, you take me to the States.
Yeah, I know it's debatable that some people might see as a graffiti writer, there might be some rules, kind of like you can't go over this guy, or you can't hit this spot, or you can't use this name. How do you feel about the word rules in the graffiti world? Do you feel like that's even a thing, or do you think it's just a personal thought?
It should be a thing.
Okay.
And, I mean, there are a lot of rules seem to me to be broken, but I think there's an unspoken code of honor that should be amongst all the graffiti writers.
Okay. So do you feel like people should do their homework before they choose to go write a name?
Yes.
Make sure no one
Yes.
ever used it.
For me, I say yes.
Okay.
Because like even let's just say my crew, H&R.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I started with my Samoan friends, they came up with a name and I ran with it.
Yeah.
Now, after 2 years, a year down the end, I find out there was another hit, HAR, which
Yeah.
is the same thing, hit and run,
Yeah.
not hit and run.
Okay.
But I'm different. I'm like, so I kind of, you could say I maybe would be considered toy, but I didn't know because didn't know better.
Okay.
So now I still have the issue, but H&R is already what it is now.
Yeah.
And I can't take it back and change it. Like, so now even I dropped it, you're gonna have other kids that are still gonna want to write that, but we aren't the HARs that Wisp put in his book.
Definitely. I totally understand. Because I come from a time where it was kind of like, if you could do better, go over it. But if you're going to come and do some whack stuff, leave it alone. But it kind of feels like that has changed now.
Yeah, I see the reverse. Like everything's reversed. Like it should have been a throw up goes over a tag,
Yeah.
a piece goes over a throw up.
Yeah.
Now it's complete opposite. You see people say, "Oh, why'd you go over me?" Like, "Oh, well, I hit that spot." Well, you weren't the first one. They try to say they were the first one to hit that spot.
Yeah.
Like basically claiming it like I'm the first one that hit that spot. Like you can't say that because you weren't the first person to actually hit that spot. You're just
Yeah.
another graffiti writer that hit that spot. So like
You're
it
not the
makes
only
no
one.
nonsense. It's no sense of what you're saying by going over me.
Have you ever had a situation like that where a youngster kind of like approaches you like, "I, what do you know?"
Somewhat, like, they just deny it, like, there's what are you gonna do? Nothing.
Yeah.
Just go about your business, and I'll see you around.
Keep moving.
Keep moving.
You never got that one knucklehead that won't move. That just right there, like I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah, you have those too, you know?
Like you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, you have those everywhere.
Yeah, you always got a knucklehead somewhere, man. That's out there trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
What would you say to that kid today that would say, you know what, I'm entering the graffiti world today or tomorrow or sometime this year?
I mean, do your homework and, like, really know what you wanna do, and, I mean, it's almost like as if there's no rules in graffiti right now because it's gone to a digital market, so there's still different venues that you could still go to,
Yeah.
but graffiti will always be there.
Okay. Do you feel like it's important for the old school writers to kind of not mentor, but kind of give out some opinions or like some guidance to the young crowd?
It would be helpful, yeah.
You think it'd be something that would help the new generation?
Maybe, but it would take them to wanna learn it as well and really, recognize and to follow the set standard that has been preceded since day one.
Yeah, because it feels like now the new generation, I don't see it like my personal opinion. I might be wrong, but in my personal opinion, I feel like they won't follow it. They won't follow through.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Everybody is their own person and their own what they wanna do in their
Yeah.
mind, so it's like, that's the hard definition. How do you know for sure or not?
What does Shiver want to be known for in the graffiti world? Right after like when Shiver, when I'm gone, when we're all gone, what does Shiver want to be known for in the graffiti world?
That I did my thing, you know? I don't know, that's a good question. I mean, I've done it this long. I mean, I contemplated stopping, about 10 years ago, but then I figured I already did like 20 years into it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much my lifestyle. This is my lifestyle for me. It wasn't like something that I just thought I mean, it started as a hobby, of course,
Yeah.
but like I had to come to the conclusion, like, this is what I'm really about, you know?
Is there something that motivates you, like emotionally, to be like, you know what, I got to keep going? Obviously, you love it and you do it because you truly love
I mean, I would
painting.
love to paint every day if I could,
Yeah.
but I just don't get paid for it. If I could, I would.
Yeah.
That's how much I love it. But like I said, I got into it through because I couldn't break dance, so I would started in the hip hop scene. So
Yeah.
I became from that whole scene helped kind of like mold me to the person I was. So I wouldn't just want to tag. I wanted to do pieces.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I strove for myself to like really want a piece
And take it to the next
and
level.
take to the next level. I wasn't just trying to I'm just going to be a tagger for the rest of my life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like everybody's individuals. Now I feel like you got the kids that, like you talked about, they don't want to gangbang. They want to start tagging.
Yeah.
But then they start tagging and then they act like they want to be a banger. So it's like, dude, okay, make your choice. You want to gangbang or you want to, right?
And what do you say to those kids that do both? They're like tag bangers or like that.
I mean, it's kind of like, there's nothing you can really say. It's like they have to live that line
Yeah.
because it's a choice that somebody either forced it on them
Mm-hmm.
or
Are they just doing it to do
or
it?
they're just doing it to do it. But there's consequences for everything.
Yeah, 'cause I know I've been in situations where they just come up to me like, "Where you from?" And I'm just right there like, "What, bro? Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah,
And it's like, it gets iffy sometimes.
yeah, because you always have that one knucklehead.
Have you ever taken part in any battles, graffiti battles?
Nah, well, I did when I was in my early days with some other like kid from my area, but not like nothing big.
But have you had the chance to witness some?
I went to the Hex and Slick battle at when they did the second one.
I know they don't like to talk about it, but how was it? How do you? How was the experience being there?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, you had TV people there filming it.
Yeah.
You had all the writers from LA that, were there watching everything. So everybody's standing around watching these two great guys paint.
Yeah.
It was just, there's two different styles. Hex has his style and Slick had his style.
And they did it twice, right?
Yeah.
They went twice. Were you at both of them?
I wasn't there for the first one. I
Okay.
got pictures and everything of the first battle,
Okay.
but the second battle, I like was there. I actually got a ride, and
It was full house, like a bunch of people there?
yeah, people just standing all the side watching these guys. This top to bottom factory,
Just painting, going
just
in.
painting, going at it, and then they were on a deadline.
Oh, yeah. What was the deadline?
I think they had like a 36-hour or 48-hour limit. Like, so it's basically like that's why Slick said like Hex like got portable lights and like
Yeah.
finished work on his piece all night long.
Yeah.
And Slick had stopped, and then so he didn't finish on the deadline. And then when Delta judged it, they gave it up for Hex.
Oh, that was the name of the judge, Delta?
Yeah, Delta 2 was one of the judges.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that must have been an epic battle.
Yeah, it was pretty legendary.
You think that's important? Like, would you be happy to see someone battling now, or do you?
I mean, dude, there's like all that stuff that we had in from Belmont in that battle alone is still burning everything that is in LA to this day because nobody is doing that.
Got you.
Like nobody does full ground. Everybody's got letters, but nobody's got backgrounds.
Got you.
You go to New York, they all got backgrounds.
Okay.
Letter structure is important, but it's also you need backgrounds for a legit mural.
Yeah. So work on your background.
But I'm just saying that style that they had at that Hex and Slick
Yeah.
battle is what your ultimate goal is what you want to see on walls. Like you have characters, you got backgrounds, you have everything.
And that's what made it so much even better to watch.
Like all inspiring. You're like, because you see that and you're like, I want to do that.
I gotta get like that.
But then you got to practice all your skills. You got to learn your tips. You got to know your cans. Then it's how do I get this paint? If for some of us we racked, some of us you would just buy it. But majority of writers don't give credit to writers that don't rack.
Definitely.
That's part of the program.
And you also got guys like your crewmates, like Revoke and Saber. Them guys just took it to the next level.
Oh yeah, those guys went off the chain with it.
Those guys just developed a whole different.
Yeah, they did their thing. That's for sure.
That was something different to watch. Their prime. I mean, they're still around, but I mean, their prime moments.
Oh yeah, I've been. I was firm believer in putting Revoke in as a crew.
What year was that?
I was 97.
97. Damn.
Yeah, after B-Boy went with San Diego for the B-Boy Summit. In 97 was in San Diego. And then he came out, Revoke, he came out and he sat down. We went back to Nicer's pad and I was looking at his black book, every page, front and back, all Revoke, the whole entire book.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I never seen a kid with a straight, full book, just your name, rocked every style that you could, back to back, every page. Like, yeah, I was blown away by it. And I told Eclipse, he wants in the crew. They said, yeah. I said, put him on.
And he got down.
And he got down and he took it from there ever since. He's been a beast.
The rest is history.
He's a beast. And I tell everybody, you want to be MSK, you got to be a killer.
You gotta put it down. Put it down.
Nothing less.
I mean, you were at the recent MSK. Yeah. How was that? Being able to paint with all your crewmates.
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, you see all the guys like me that were in their 40s, 50s,
yeah.
So we're all old men now, but it's great to see that what we kind of like started back in the day and we didn't know it was going to become this to what it is now.
That's inspiring.
It just like blew us off. But that meeting actually inspired me to want to get back to painting again.
That's dope.
Because I've been going through my life issues. So,
yeah.
I almost lost my life 3 years ago in a car accident.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, I'm still here. I'm breathing. I'm alive, minus the damage done.
Yes, we all, man, everybody always, me, myself, I could speak like, man, it's always something, man.
Always something. And when everything's going good, something bad just has to happen. And I'm like, no.
I know Belmont Tunnel was a very iconic place for graffiti back in those days. How was it for young Shiver walking in there for the first time to paint?
Man, it was 89. It was the first time I walked into there.
1989.
1989.
How was it?
Yeah, 89. So I found it because my Guatemalan friend that I went to school with,
Yeah.
He's from my crew. He happened to find it. So he told me where it was. So then I happened to drive down there and I found it. And then I did an H&R piece. And when I was painting the thing, the LAPD helicopter came over, started circling above me. And I'm like, you know, like this little white kid and, you know, over here, like painting and like wondering, like, is this guy for me or what? Like, I still went for it. I ended up finishing and he just like kind of like left and took off.
And was it like a full house when you walked in there for the first time, or was it just you?
Oh, it was just me.
Oh, yeah?
Like, but the whole yard, you know, you'd always see it. So it was like tons of walls and all the pieces on there, you know, and then through the years, when you would be in there, the LAPD, they would always pull up on the hillside because there were streets that go around. So they would be on there and they would get on they would do the siren. Okay. And like shoot the siren up to see if you guys would run because the other cop, because there's usually two of them. Yeah. So the one would have his binoculars and would watch into the yard. Okay. So then the other one would hit the siren to see if you would run.
To go get your message.
And then if you didn't run, they would still do it more than once, but they would be they would scope us like from up on the hill to see. Damn. That's how the cops used to do the Belmont yard.
Damn, that's crazy.
And then you had your years. Then they came in. A couple times the buff came in, like it was a community cleanup project. Yeah. So they came in like one or two times, and they buffed everybody's pieces. Okay. And so we were like, "What? Like, what are you doing? You know, like, why are you going over this stuff?" And it was part of their community cleanup for gang graffiti. Okay. But it was just to clean up the neighborhood because you had Diamond Streets up the street, you had headhunters. Yeah, schoolyard crips. You know,
and did you ever make the transition back to the South Bay, kind of to like, all right, I'm gonna try to get some spots down here, or was it back and forth?
It was always back and forth for me. So I got chased plenty of times from Hawthorne PD. Okay, you know, I was even on their wanted list for a moment. You know, okay. Like I said, I always had to get out of that city because they always had 24/7, always getting chased. It was just nonstop with them. Because I was messing with them. It's still like, you know, like I've lived there my whole life. I mean, sometimes the realtors try to sit there and because they're gentrifying all areas of LA, the way New York, everybody is. They try to say there's no gangs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Gangs have been a Hawthorne since the 70s. Yeah. You know, like you guys are tripping.
Do you think they're more lenient now on graffiti, or you think they're still being knuckleheads over there, the city?
The city still buff regardless because you still have all the gangs in Hawthorne, and all the surrounding gangs, they're all still active. Okay.
And before we get out of here, brother, is there anything that you would like viewers to know about Shiver?
Nah. I'm here. That's it.
And what can viewers expect from Shiver in the future?
Hopefully more interviews and more pieces.
More pieces.
No, I'm going to keep painting until I can't no more.
Is there anything throughout your journey that you could say you regret and you won't do again?
Not at all.
If you would put back,
I wish my memory would serve me correctly so I could remember everything that I done. Because there's some things that people have said, you remember this, and I don't remember.
Remember that one time we did this? And you're like, yeah, bro. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, you know, that's the only thing I have regret is maybe the brain doesn't work. It's not as sharp as tool in the shed no more.
It's under construction.
Hey, I'm trying.
I want to thank you, brother, for stopping by and giving us your first interview. It's all love. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out the merch. The link is in the description. And with that being